Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be the greatest podcast. Why? Because it's the story of my life. It's about me being short. That's all it is. It's about me being short. And nothing better to remind me than Miss Sarah Campbell, who came and hugged me. But she actually drooped down about 7.5 inches just to give me a hug. But her mom, perfect, open arms, no high heels, and gave me a beautiful hug. So yes, COVID is no longer in the room. We're all, I think, vaccinated now, and I think everything is great. So anyway, with that said, this is our second year with the Miss New Jersey Internationals, as you might have already known. And yes, this is sponsor of the year, Michael Grande, bringing you this Miss Jersey International. But we have a winner here, and she was just a guest last time. Look at the smile. By the way, when you win these contests, you become beautiful overnight. You just became beautiful overnight.
Thank you.
We have the beautiful Miss Sarah Campbell, and let me tell you, the beautiful. But let me just praise you for a second.
Making me blush.
I send you a text or an Instagram, whatever it was. You reminded me of Disney princess.
Thank you. I have been told I resemble Belle, so
Oh,
I
well,
was very
excuse-
excited.
there goes that compliment.
But I was excited. You confirmed that for me.
Yeah,
So I was
you
excited.
look stunning.
Thank you so
Your
much.
hair,
Thank
and then
you.
so you know what we'll do is we'll try to find a picture, and maybe we can superimpose that picture, Lucia. We can put that maybe into the so everybody will know the Disney princess that she is. So there was a lot of takeaways from that. But first, I want to ask you things that most people want to know behind the scenes.
Ask away.
All right. So how was it with the people that you were in this contest with when they found out that they lost? How was it after? I mean, before the show, everybody's loving each other and hugging, and then after the show, it might have been. I mean, I don't know, but was it a little different, like a little uncomfortable?
It's very funny you say that because I have been doing this for 21 years, and I always envisioned my crowning moment to be this amazing, spectacular moment and to just be like on cloud nine for the next few days. And it wasn't what I was expecting, but not in a bad way. I actually, because I've lost so many times, I really felt for the other amazing women in the Mrs. division because I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like when your name's not called, and I know how amazing they are and how hard they worked. So it was almost a very conflicting moment for me because I knew I worked very hard to get to that moment on stage, but I also know the other women worked just as hard. And especially when I found out I won overall interview and overall evening gown, that was not just in my division, that was out of the entire competition.
Was that because you do these podcasts and you were just familiar? Come on, throw me a bone.
Well, of course, it's a lot of practice.
It is.
It really is.
Yeah.
And when I tell you, I put my blood, sweat, and tears
Yeah.
into prepping for this competition. I did. And it was also the first year that I truly sat back and took everybody's advice and was 100% authentically myself. Not that I have not been myself at previous pageants, but I really just let go, and I didn't give what they call the pageant patty answers. I even remember at one point thinking during my interview, oh my gosh, I can't believe I said that, but it was a me answer. It's how I would have answered if we were sitting over a cup of coffee.
I remembered what you said, and I'm going to bring that up. I love one of your answers.
I'm nervous about what answer. But no, I mean, I felt for them, and I have gotten so much support from, all the ladies from the pageant. They keep reaching out to me just saying, that my story is inspiring and they're so happy for me and they're there if they can do anything for me. And that's really what sisterhood is,
Right.
yes, you might not win the crown, but you always walk away a winner because you learn so much throughout that entire weekend and you make lifelong friendships. So there's really no losing.
Do you think people who've lost, who feel like they just don't want to do it anymore, you think it's best to really get back on the horse and just try again?
Absolutely. I mean, I've been losing for a very long time. And when I say lose, I mean that I've placed and I've done this and I've won overall talent. I've won, Miss Congeniality. So I understand that defeated feeling, like, well, what's wrong with me? It's really the first thing you ask when you don't win a pageant is, what's wrong with me? Am I not good enough? Why did the judges not like me? But I really think that it's just the way you're always delivering yourself, and it's not just in one portion of the competition, it's in every portion. And so for me, what I did was I focused on the areas I knew, which were interview and evening gown. And so that was really big for me to go from knowing those were my biggest struggles in pageantry to winning overall evening gown and interview.
And who picked that evening gown? I loved it, by the way. That was
Thank
beautiful.
you. So this time too, I went into it with my everything just totally full out. And so that's what I did. I have a wonderful pageant coach, my amazing directors, and Jillian Spano, who's is a sponsor for us as well for coaching. I brought the experts in, and I said, what looks good? Because many times too, something that I might not choose for myself, other people will have a vision for. And it's very helpful when you have people who have been in this industry and who know what they're looking for, who know what fits your body type. Yeah. And I would have never picked that gown or that color for myself. So I was very thankful. Diane and company, they were very wonderful. So it was just a very nice experience to have people help me choose something that they know would be a winning gown on me.
It's like a coach.
Yes, and that is helpful. I mean, really, do you get anywhere in life without somebody's guidance?
Wow. You know what? That's going to bring us to the end of this, which I can't wait to. Now that you brought this, is a great way to wrap it all up. So, you had a crowd of people, even with signage. I mean, you had a little daughter with signs. Mom, I love you.
She was my cheerleader. Her and her best friend Willow. Yeah.
Yes, that was amazing. And the cheering that you had in that little area, I heard everybody cheering, right? And that's the mom, Debbie, in the background. She was there too.
You'll always hear Deb's laugh.
So that was your daughter, right?
That was Marin Joy, yes.
So when Marin sees her mom up there, what kind of feeling did it have for her? Because now her mom's the winner, right?
It was really funny because, she was 6. She just recently turned 7. But, they're so young. And you really never think that they'll be able to think like an adult or feel like an adult. And she finally came up on stage to give me a hug. And when I looked down at her, she was crying.
Really?
She truly understood that mommy worked really hard for this. And I looked down at her and she was looking up at me going, Mommy, you won. And she just was so happy. And, it made me feel really proud in that moment because I know that I'm raising a daughter who is going to support and empower other women. There's no jealous because she didn't compete in the pageant. Right. And she was just so thrilled for me. And that's all she still talks about is, Mommy, isn't it so great you won? And she's just so excited. And it just makes me a proud mom because I know that I'm raising a young woman who is going to support other women and, be their biggest cheerleader and not rip them or tear them down.
That's right. But it's not just about being beautiful. It's all now the platform. So now your daughter gets to watch your whole year of you and your platform and how you're going to explain people, it's Crohn's, right? I mean, that's what your platform is. But your daughter will now see how you've used being this beautiful woman who won this pageant, now go out and with this platform, educate people. And that's really important. So how are you going to change the way because you educated a lot of people, but how now being a winner, is that going to help you educate more people and now show people like your daughter what this mission's all about?
So I have a lot of plans, and it's been very, very chaotic since winning the pageant because we're prepping for nationals. So.
Mary's got you all over the beach.
Yes.
All over the boardwalk.
I've seen it. Ocean, New Jersey, we're everywhere.
I've seen it, I know.
But it is nice too because I've had to explain to my husband, being cooped up in the house, I'm a social butterfly, so to be stuck in the house, to be sick for 2 years, to be in the hospital, to now going back to this crazy, it's such a good crazy. And it's been overwhelming, but I've waited for this moment for 21 years, so I was ready for it. It was I'm just game face on. And so I'm really thankful too because everything we're doing is our sponsors. I'm here tonight and I get to do this interview. I'm, working with Rev Nutrition and, now I have my diet plan in place to help me really tone up.
Did you go on the dreaded 3D scan?
I did, and it didn't work the first 2 times, and I thought it was just me. Finally, Michelle came in, she was like, it never does this. And I was like, well, naturally, because I'm here, it's doing it. But I did the 3D scan, and it's really nice too for someone like me who is an IBD patient to really be able to sit down and speak with a nutritionist and tell them my fitness goals while still having to, adhere to a diet that helps my anxiety, because that's really what I'm dealing with now. And that's kind of been tough for me since being crowned because it has been a little bit stressful on my body. And we all know that when you're stressed out, that can be something that can initiate a Crohn's flare. So I've just been taking time when I need to take time. But, this is giving me so many amazing opportunities.
Yeah.
And so now I just want to take everything I've been doing and step it up. And I want to start possibly interviewing on my social media platform page.
Right.
For Crohn's and colitis, just now doing some live interviews with, patients that have Crohn's colitis. And my biggest goal for this year as Mrs. New Jersey International, continuing to work with the Crohn's Colitis Foundation, obviously, and continuing to build IBD Heroes, is to start organizing and fundraising to make care packages for IBD patients who are recovering from surgery, whether it be a colostomy or getting, an ostomy bag or just getting a bowel resection like I did. My best friend brought me a care package when I was in the hospital, and I truly think that care package helped so much get me through my time in the hospital.
Really?
Because she put so many amazing things in there. She brought me a blanket, and all those things just made me feel a lot more comfortable being in a, isolated hospital room by myself. And so I want to give that feeling to IBD patients. And, now that hopefully COVID is, the restrictions are easing down, do appearances and with my crown and sash and say I have the same scar.
That's
and
right.
And look at what I've been able to do and accomplish, even though I have Crohn's disease. There are children that have Crohn's disease. So the cool thing about my platform is that it reaches children, men, women, anyone of all ages. So I'm really, really looking forward to trying to build all of that. I mean, obviously nationals is coming, and I need to really get my head in the game for nationals and be prepared. So in the meantime, those are things I want to start slowly setting up. I just did an interview last night with an amazing interviewer, Gut Health 101, another advocate for Crohn's and colitis. Wow. So just trying to really get out there in the IBD community and do as much as I can.
So that's great. You know what? I'm interested to see how Rev changes you or helps you. And I'm going to say this. I was in my doctor's office last week. I had to get my blood. It was a physical, right? So they are like, are you on this medication? I'm like, nope, this medication. Last year, I was on all these medications for my stomach. It was crazy. My stomach would kill me. And all of these issues, right? So they're going through the list. Nope. They're like, what did you do? I said, I go to Rev. Don't you go to Rev? She's like, no. I said, well, why not? You're just giving people pills. That's all they do. So their diets, their nutritionalists, I go, Lauren White is awesome. I saw Lauren today. She always helps me. But let me tell you, she put me on track, and all of those went away. Every ailment is gone. And then she goes, well, we can give you a COVID shot. I'm like, don't you see that if you're healthy and you're in great shape,
your
and you
body
take care,
can do amazing things.
Exactly.
If you
and the
feed it with the correct foods and take care of your
Exactly.
body, it can do amazing things. So it's funny. Last night I was saying to the person interviewing me that we are in so many other pandemics right now. We're in, obesity pandemics and just so many other things. And so I think that coming out of this, what people need to realize is that your body and your health need to come first. And that's what I've done. Even through all of this craziness of winning, when I need a moment to sit down, I sit down. If I feel like I need to lay down and take a nap, I lay down and take a nap. And sometimes you have to say no to people. This is Mental Health Awareness Month, and you need to take care of yourself. You come first all the time.
That's exactly right. I'd be interested to see how the dieting and the revolution.
I'm excited. I mean, I joked. I said I kind of want to look like ripped. I just want to look like when you've lost all your muscle and you have bones sticking out of your skin, you want to feel strong again. So that's my goal, is just to build muscle and tone. I also recently learned that I have developed a hernia, an incisional hernia, right where I had my surgery. And it was pretty much going to happen no matter what, because of the trauma my body experienced. So I do need another surgery. I just found that out. And so, I explained to them I have kind of this hernia, and it's, I'm self-conscious. I'm going to nationals with beautiful, beautiful women. And yes, it's not a beauty pageant, but we all know that when you feel your most beautiful is when you are your most confident.
That's exactly.
And so when you have a little hump on your stomach, it's hard. And so they said, here are the things you're going to do to help you feel the most confident. So this way, even going with a little bit of a deformity on my abdomen, they're going to help me feel, my healthiest. Because at the end of the day, that's, even if I don't feel like I look, I want to feel healthy and I want to feel strong.
Got it. So this is all in preparation for the Nationals, right?
Absolutely.
Because I know Mary is dying to have you guys win the Nationals. She wants you to take, the whole universe.
Listen, me and Andriana have just joked, we're like, watch out, Tennessee, Team New Jersey's coming for you. And I really think what I love about Andriana and I is that we have worked really hard to get to where we are today. We did not just swoop into this pageant and win it. I mean, this has taken months and months, for me, years of, practice and preparation. So for me, and just because I absolutely adore Mary and Kim, they had said to me, well, what's your goal for nationals? I mean, what I love is there was no pressure. Of course, they would like to see us do well, but they were like, if you just want to go and make friends, and I said, I'm going, and I my intention is to win and to make a name for you guys, because Mary and Kim have worked so hard to build such an amazing pageant. By the way, Kim is Bosley, to those who don't know Kim. She was again supposed to be here. What is she celebrating? Her birthday.
Her 50th, which was yesterday. It was yesterday, so she could have been here.
Yes.
Birthday's over. That's done, Bosley.
So I do. I really just want to go and rock that stage. And also for so many reasons. For, my students, for my family who supported me.
Yeah.
For the first time of finally making it to a national stage. And just because when you go from laying in a hospital bed to being so close to death and now being able to, I'm just ready to get on that stage and just say, watch out, Tennessee, Mrs. New Jersey is here.
That is awesome. And now you're students because you teach, but what are your students? Did you tell your students?
Oh my goodness, of course I told my students.
Yeah.
Yes.
How did that go?
They were so sweet. I did post it. We have something called Class Dojo, and it's how we communicate with our families. And I posted a picture and said, Mrs. Campbell has some really exciting news. And I showed them my crown and my banner, and they were just another group, so sweet. One of my sweet students, Catalea, her mom messaged me and she said, oh my goodness, all she does is tell my teacher is Queen of New Jersey. And that's all she does. And she says, I want to be like Mrs. Campbell when I grow up. So you just know that when you're wearing this crown and sash, you are inspiring people you never thought you would inspire. Right. And so to be... my school is so proud of me. Mr. Spina, my principal, he shouted me out and he sent pictures, and everyone knows pageants are my hobby and I've been doing this. And to be a teacher from Philadelphia who teaches in a Title I public school, most often we know public schools are very underfunded. Yeah. We don't receive a lot of resources. I think it just made our neighborhood feel good. That's neighborhood true. Of Mayfair, Mrs. New Jersey International works at Forest Elementary, Yeah. And so, and it is Forest, where my school is amazing. We're making a name for ourselves. Mr. Spina's really been wonderful in helping to turn our school around. So it feels good to be a part of things that might not have been so wonderful at one time, but we're building it up to make it just like this pageant. It starts small and you try to really just build it up and do everything you can to bring it a positive light. And that's what we're doing at my elementary school too.
Well, rumor has it that David Lee Roth said if Van Halen was still alive, he'd be doing another shoot of Hot for Teacher. And you'd be the one in the video.
Oh, well, good. Thank you.
You could just imagine that, right? If you were my teacher, I'd be like, oh my God. And you'd have, Eddie Van Halen playing. That's the way it would be.
I've had some cute crushes.
Well, there you go. Yeah, of course. But I want to touch base on I don't know if we really brought this up enough, but I'm sure he's got now bragging rights. You spoke a lot about your husband, especially on the stage.
Yes.
You said that he's been a supporter for all this time, and you really found that you knew he was your true love. Absolutely. When times were really, really tough.
Yes.
That was a beautiful moment, by the way.
Thank you. My husband and I have been through so much, so I feel like when you meet your significant other, so for some people it's like this fairy tale, and for us it wasn't. The first 2 years of our relationship were kind of very up and down. He is 7 years older than me, so he was in his career. I was just starting school. He kind of just had his own life, and I just kind of waltzed in, and we were from totally different crowds of people. And I wasn't sure if, it was going to work, but after 2 weeks of meeting him, I came home and told my mom, I met the man I'm going to marry.
Wow.
And, she thought I was probably just, in the honeymoon phase and in love. But even when we had our tough times, it was like the universe always pulled us back to one another. And finally, he kind of let his guard down. We instantly became best friends. And then within the first couple years, my husband's brother suddenly passed. and it was in 2010. It was completely unexpected. His brother was about 4 years younger than him.
Wow.
And he also lost his cousin Christy, and he lost his cousin Jill, and they were all like very just surprising and awful accidents. And it felt like we were just burying people in the ground, and it was just kind of one of those moments in life like, well, God, what did we do? You know, like, why did you take Eric, his brother? And it just was soul crushing to the family. And we had no money. My husband in 2008, he's a union carpenter. When I tell you we had no money, we had no money. We were living in the smallest apartment, and we were just very humbled. So with no money, losing people and constantly going to funerals, you know, I think we went through all the major things you usually go through in a relationship within like the first 5 years of marriage. We went through before we were even engaged. When we got engaged, we had no money. We actually got engaged without a ring because I had told him, I just want to marry you. You know, it doesn't matter about the ring. And the day that we decided to get engaged was a Saturday. His brother passed on Sunday.
Wow.
So our wedding was, you know, tough because we were missing a lot of seats. My grandfather had passed 6 weeks before his brother. So it was just like death after death after death. And we've worked really hard. We both come from divorced families, you know, and so marriage was very important to us. I'm a Christian, and, you know, I had told him, I don't want to get divorced. That's my number one thing, is I want to, you know, be in it for life. So if you can't do that, then we need to have a discussion.
Right.
And he felt the same way. And that's why we named Marin Joy, because she really truly just brought joy back to this family after we experienced so much loss and devastation. To have this sweet little baby and new life, it just, everybody's eyes just lit up again. And, you know, obviously all of the people were missing, especially, you know, her uncle Eric, who she'll never get to meet, and all of the beautiful people in our families that have passed. You know, she just helped bring back the light, because a lot of our pieces of our heart were missing. And she truly just, you know, brought back smiles to everybody, and she's been the light of everyone's life. You know, she just makes everyone smile, and so
she's your biggest fan.
She is. And so, you know, my husband and I are just, he truly is. And some people say, oh, I don't like when people say their husband. He is my best friend, and I am proud to call him my soulmate. And to have a husband like him, I could, you know, and then for me to get sick. You know, I mean, his father grew up with ulcerative colitis and was extremely sick and in and out of the hospital. And that was very traumatizing for my husband. So for his wife to then get Crohn's disease and almost go through the same thing, you know, that was really tough for my husband. I mean, he already had to, you know, carry his brother's casket, and, you know, he's carried so many caskets. And so he was terrified when I was in the hospital, because we didn't know if I was going to make it home. So all of these moments we've gone through have really humbled us, and they've made us a very strong couple. And the one thing Justin and I always do, and when anyone says, well, how do you do it? You know, you've been together 15 years, we'll be celebrating our 10-year wedding anniversary, is we make time for each other. We come first. You know, we love our daughter, we dedicate our life to her, but there's a time and a place for her to go to bed, and mommy and daddy sit down, we have our alone time, we watch our movies, we spend time with each other, we go on dates. And we will never stop making time for each other. And I still joke, like, when he pulls up to the house, I still get butterflies in my stomach because I'm that excited to see him.
Wow,
and
that's amazing.
I just fall more in love with him every day. I mean, he puts the biggest smile on my face.
Well, you know, he's got bragging rights now. My wife is Miss New Jersey.
And he has,
Come
and
on.
it's very cute. He's like, you know, he's not always been a typical pageant husband, but to see the smile, my husband doesn't cheese. Like, he'll smile.
Yeah, he was cheesing.
If you look in my crowning moment
we
picture,
saw
he
cheesing.
is cheesing, and he had tears in his eyes just a few days after. He's so proud of me. And even now, like tonight when I was leaving, he goes, I still can't believe you won. I said, I still can't believe I won. Can you believe this is on my head? Like, I never want to take it off. But yeah, he's amazing. And I'm so lucky. I'm so humbled and blessed to have such an amazing husband, because he supports me in everything that I do.
You know, it's going to be very, very difficult for your daughter, because she's going to look for a guy just like your husband.
Thank goodness, though, because
exactly right.
She's going to look for someone, because that's what I always tell her, is you look for somebody who treats you the way daddy treats mommy.
Yep.
You know, I mean, I always joke with my husband. I say, I love you very much, but I don't need you. There's a difference. I always joke with him because I'm a very strong, independent person.
Right.
And so I always make it very known to him that I adore him, but I could do life without him,
Right.
like if we weren't together is what I say, but joking with him because I also, my mom, my single mom was absolutely amazing, worked 2 jobs, did not have money to do the things that she did for me, but she made it work. And so I just come from a strong-headed mentality that, I could do things on my own if I had to. I don't want to.
Of course,
but
no,
if
we
I
totally
had to, I also know that I could. And so I always kind of joke with Justin, but we're a great team. We do things for one another constantly. And when one of us can't do something, the other picks up the slack. And we're just a very good team together.
That's awesome. The one thing I want to bring up, though, before we get to some other things, was your question. I think I remember the question, but I love the answer. It was about voting. It was awesome.
Well, I'm glad you liked it because I was authentically myself.
I know, and I wonder if you got any flack for that because this was just after the election, or not so much after the election, but the election was still kind of big news. It wasn't a real election and stuff like that. And I struggle with understanding how these things just happened in the middle of the night. So I shared that, but when you gave an honest opinion and it was not conformed to the audience or the judges, and it was you, I was like, this is awesome.
I appreciate that.
The question was, do you think people should vote by themselves, or you still believe in absentee votes? Do you think people should just mail them in? And you said?
I feel that if we're able to go to Walmart and stores where we're wearing masks, there's no reason why we cannot go to a ballot and hand it, and just do our vote. I mean, at the end of the day, we're living in a time in society where people don't know who to believe. Or what
That's exactly
to believe.
right. You're so
and
right.
I just truly feel, and this is how I felt, and I've talked to other people, I know that they felt the same way, that you can safely go to a ballot and cast your vote with, being socially distanced, and we were all wearing masks. I mean, it's very possible because now, people don't trust the system. There are lots of people that don't, and regardless of who you voted for, that's not what matters because at the end of the day, you're told, well, get out there and vote. Your opinion matters.
That's
your
right.
voice counts, but then you feel like it's been compromised.
That's right.
Well, how do I know that my vote got, because I think too, one of the issues in our world today is people think that big organizations or certain places would never do things that, would maybe hurt the American people.
Right.
And there's so much conflicting information. So I think that for me, as an American citizen, I feel safe when I press that button and I see my vote count that way. When I have to hand it in, I'm not sure where it's going or what's happening with it or whose hands it's going to be in.
And you didn't make it political. You weren't Republican, Democrat, conservative, anything. You were just like, I just think we should just do it ourselves. We'll know it matters, Yeah,
I mean, I think that great answer. When you want to feel trusted and secure, if you get a diamond ring, you wouldn't just give it to anybody and put it in their hands. You wouldn't put it in a piece of paper. So I just think that, American people at this point, with so much of craziness that's happened in our world, just want to know that their vote has counted 100% and that it's a fair outcome. I think that's all anybody wants.
I totally agree. And I thought that was handled really, really
Thank
well.
you.
I don't know if you got any slack for that at the end.
I didn't. So we'll see. Maybe after tonight's podcast, you never know.
Can I jump in? She didn't get any slack because the overall interview included that answer and that she was tied going into the interview.
But wait, that was picked out of a hat. That wasn't like staged, that question.
Right, but her answer went towards her winning the overall interview award of the night.
Really?
That is what put her over the edge.
See, and I remember that. I remember that the most.
That was a great answer.
It was. I love that answer.
You.
Yeah. So we usually wrap these up with, with the whole Mustang thing, but now you're a second guest, so I had to come up with something different. So,
Please do.
I did. So I am a really big fan of life coaches, and you were talking about it before. The coaches helps, the pageantry and stuff like that. So I've had a life coach. I'm a really big Tony Robbins guy, so I've had his life coaches over the course of maybe 5 or 6 years. And one time I was having this session with the coach, and he goes, Mike, I want you to close your eyes, and I just want you to think about yourself when you were a little kid. Let's say 5 or 6, when you the youngest you ever would. Just close your eyes and think about that. And now I want you to have a conversation with that person when you were 5 or when you were 6, because now you know how things turned out, right? You didn't know that you were going to go through, what you went through and all the trauma that you went through. You didn't know that there were going to be all these deaths. What do you tell that 5-year-old now coming into where you are now, but what do you tell her what to expect and how you should deal with it?
I would just tell her, girl, you're going to do great things and be confident in who you are. Because for me growing up, I was not very confident in myself. And, you know, coming from a divorced family, my life was very different than many other people. I was kind of spent my time at a lot of babysitters' homes and just went through a lot of things growing up, you know, not awful, but, you know, just situations that some kids don't always have to go through. And I was very broken, and I felt like I was always looking for someone. I was also someone who had a lot of pity parties for myself, and I think you just need to have a positive mindset. So if I could go back and just even talk to young women or young people today, be confident in who you are and just take your uniqueness and embrace it, because you're always going to be you. You can, you know, get plastic surgery, you can change your outfit, you can whiten your teeth, you can dye your hair, you can buy extensions, but at the end of the day, it's never going to change the way you are inside.
That's right.
And I always tried so hard to fit in with this group of girls and this group of girls, and tried to just, like, you know, I was apologetic for who I was. And it wasn't until I probably got into my 30s where I was like, but this is who I am. So either you like me or you don't like me.
Right.
I know I might not be everybody's cup of tea, and that's fine. But then I'm going to find people who do like me and who support and encourage me. And then since the surgery, I 100% did that. And I am so much happier. And I also, like I said, put myself first. So I've had to learn how to say no to people. You know, when things arise, if I just can't do it, I've had to say no, thank you, and really just take care of myself. So it's really just be confident in who you are. Trust that things will also work out, because there's been so many times where I've been so, oh my gosh, what if this happens? It will all work out. If you've made it this far in life, you will be fine.
Yeah.
You will be fine. And, you know, that's really what I would like to encourage and inspire the younger population with right now.
What's the youngest memory you have of yourself? Could be anything. Whether
I was going to say, some of them might not be so great. You know, it's funny. I do have a few, but a lot of them are like of me and Deb, my mom. You know, she is the light of my life. She's absolutely
nice.
Amazing. You know, and I'm very close with my dad too.
You
You
did
know.
blame her for picking out very poor evening
Well,
gowns.
sometimes Deb's my
Before
mom,
the show.
so she wants to, like, you know, feed me sometimes what I want to hear. And then after the pageant, she would be like, "Well, I did not." I'm like, "Well, Mom, if you didn't think it was the best, why?" You know. But some of the memories I have are just of her and I, and it's funny because as moms, we guilt ourselves over everything. Like, oh my gosh, I could have done this with my daughter. I could have done my son, and, you know, I'm such a bad mom. She says that, you know, oh, I put you, but I don't remember those moments. Like, she'll say, oh, I couldn't afford, you know, Christmas presents, so we had a tea party. I said, but I remember an awesome tea party.
Right.
I don't remember not having enough money. You know, I mean, anytime I said to my mom, I want to do this, she made it happen. And so a lot of my memories might be bad for her because she feels so awful, but to me, like, I remember her buying me a toy and just saying, do you want blueberry pancakes? And that was my favorite, you know, meal. And so for her to say, you want blueberry pancakes, and we'll walk to the store and we'll go rent, you know, this was when Blockbuster days still existed, and she'd go, and we'll go rent a movie. I remember those days. So it might not have cost $100, and maybe we didn't go on fancy vacations, but that was fun, walking in a snowstorm to Blockbuster with my mom on a snow day. You know, do you want to stay home from school today? So those, you know, she would give me my mental health days. Like, she didn't treat me like a child. She treated me like, you know, an adult, and knew that I had stressful days. And those are really the days that I remember, you know, her just really being amazing.
That's an amazing legacy, just to hear you, you know, hear your daughter say that to you. Yeah. It is.
So I mean, those are my memories. Just life being, you know, hard, but my mom and I making the best of it, just like my husband and I have made the best of some of the poorer hands we've been dealt, and how I make the, you know, best of life now by just waking up and being positive, and so thankful and grateful that I'm just alive today to be here, and I just want to make every minute count.
That is awesome. And if there's anything that I could do to support
Thank
your
you.
platform, I am
Absolutely.
totally
Yes,
able
I'll
to
be reaching out. So
yes,
hold you to
absolutely. We can do whatever it is that you need. So when is the big show?
Well, we're doing a road trip. Mary and Kim said I could drive with them, so I'm so excited. And so we're going to leave on Sunday, July 18th. We'll get there on Monday the 19th. We have orientation, and then it's a crazy busy week. Friday is preliminaries, July 24th. Saturday, when I make the top 16,
I
will
love it.
compete on Saturday, July 25th for
That's
Mrs.
great.
International. Yes.
Wow. And I got to figure out a third question, because when you become a winner, You know, I got to ask you
get
to
that
come
third
back.
question ready, just in
Exactly
case. You
right.
never know.
Ladies and gentlemen, the very beautiful Miss Sarah Campbell. Please, let's give her a round of applause.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
having
so
me.
much.
You're amazing, Mike. Thank you.
Thank you.